Our joining the alliance is a defensive move, and I think it's not a threat to Russia. I think in our case, Finland has been really consistent in developing its armed forces. Our army is one of the best in Europe, and I think we are fairly self-confident that we can defend our country.
That is Finland's ambassador to the U.S. yesterday on Capitol Hill as Helsinki declares it wants to join NATO. Sweden is also considering applying. In return, here is the Russian ambassador to the UN saying that Finland and Sweden could become targets. Watch here.
They know that the moment they become members of the NATO, it will imply certain mirror moves on the Russian side, which usually affects NATO member states. If there are NATO detachments in this territory, so this territory would become a target, a possible target for a strike.
Where's this going to go? Kurt Volker is with us now, former ambassador as well. Sir, thank you for coming back to our program. In your role as a former ambassador at the UN, I mean, this is pretty significant, right? This is Ukraine down here. You see the land border it has with Russia, but this is Finland up here. This is 830 miles, and you see Sweden off to the west from Finland. During the Second World War, the Soviet Union and the Finnish military fought a brutal war together. And Finland has pretty much decided to keep the peace between the West and Russia by staying neutral this time. What do you think about the response from Russia so far, or where do you see this going?
Well, first off, you're absolutely right. So Finland has been a neutral country since World War II, not by choice, but by agreement with Russia or with the Soviet Union at the time. They held off the Soviets during the war, but then they agreed to limit their sovereignty a bit by not joining any alliances in order to not be under further pressure from the Soviet Union. But what we see now is Russia's invasion of Ukraine and absolute brutality and war crimes that we've seen committed has convinced the Finns and increasingly the Swedes it's not safe to be neutral anymore, that anything can happen. Russia, if they see that you're not a member of NATO, they may well go ahead and attack. And especially if there's any kind of nuclear or chemical or biological deterrence of such an attack. Finland doesn't have that on its own. So it's looking for the NATO umbrella to make sure that they are safe going into the future. From NATO's perspective, Finland is a highly capable military, and I don't think there'll be any issues about Finland joining.
The Finnish head of state said, "You caused this. Look in the mirror." He said, "You, Russia, caused this. Look in the mirror." And you think back to the first 48 hours of this war on the 24th of February. What Putin did scared the daylights out of Finland and Sweden and Poland and Germany. And that's what bridged NATO. It happened within 2 days, I would argue.
Yeah, I think you're completely right. And, you know, when we hear the Russian ambassador at the UN talking about targeting of Sweden or Finland, they know they were targets anyway. This is not such a new thing for them. You've had Russian aircraft violating their airspace, submarines violating Swedish waters, and circling land, the Swedish island. They know they are on the target list anyway. What they're worried about is now their own defenses, which are good, may not be enough to deter Russia, given what they've seen in Ukraine.
Okay, next topic here. By the way, Turkey's already objected to this, so we'll see whether or not that changes on behalf of Erdogan. Meanwhile, earlier today, the UK has made a decision to sanction Putin's ex-wife and to sanction his girlfriend, who apparently has reportedly 2 or 3 children of Vladimir Putin. She's living a pretty high life in Switzerland. She's very famous back in her home country of Russia. But since London made this decision, what do you think the impact could be on that, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, I don't think Putin is going to be swayed by any sanctions. I think he's operating at a different level here. He believes in his historic mission to reassemble the Russian Empire. And money and other kinds of statements or either sanctions on his girlfriend, I don't think any of those are going to drive him away from that path. What's really going to affect his achievement of that objective, Russian Empire, is the military pushback that he is getting in Ukraine right now with Western help. He's seeing that he doesn't have the military means, and now he's also seeing economically with the sanctions and energy shutoffs, he won't soon have the economic means either. Those are the things that are going to change his decision-making.
Wow, Kurt Volker, thank you. A lot to track on this today, former U.S. ambassador to NATO. Thank you, sir. We'll speak again.
Bill, thank you.